Just before we get started, I do want to say I've got a brand new channel. It's called Biographics, longer form, 20 minutes-ish biographies about notable people from history, not just politicians, but all sorts of different folks. Please follow the link in the description below and check it out if you're looking for something else to watch. Alright, so Inditex. It is the largest fashion distributor on the planet, and it's the most successful company in the history of Spain. It's got an annual turnover of $27 billion, and consequently, this company has managed to make it into the top 60 largest companies in the world. And if you want to buy it, well then, you better have a thick wallet. You'd need to spend $125 billion to make the acquisition. The company name might be unfamiliar to some of you, but I am sure you will recognize many of its fashion labels. Look inside this corporation and you'll find such well-known brands as Zara, Pull&Bear, Bershka, Massimo Dutti, Stradivarius, Oysho, Zara Home, or Uterqüe. And although smaller, you can also find Lefties, their low-cost brands. But the flagship brand of this corporation is definitely Zara, and I'm sure you know it. It has stores open in almost every country around the world, and it is here, in Zara, where the corporation makes 60% of its total sales. But the most striking thing here is not just the figures, it's the company's evolution. In just a few years, Inditex has turned into the world's largest textile group, with stores on the most expensive streets in the world. And it all started as a modest Spanish company. This kind of thing might be less unusual in a country like the USA, but I can assure you it's rare to find such a phenomenon in Spain. That is why we're going to analyze Inditex today from its humble beginnings, through the keys to its success, and of course, well, its immense profits.
The origins of a giant.
To know the origins of Inditex, we must go back to the 70s, when Spanish businessman Amancio Ortega opened the first Zara store. Now you might be wondering, where did Ortega get the inspiration to start up such a profitable moneymaker? Well, it's difficult to say, but we do know this man has been involved with the fashion industry from a very young age. When he was only 14, he was already working as a delivery boy for a well-known shirt shop in a small industrial city in the north of Spain. Yep, times have absolutely changed. Back then, Spain was very different to how it is now. It was a much poorer country, and it wasn't unusual to find a 14-year-old in employment. But let's focus here. The thing Ortega saw was a clear business opportunity, and he soon decided to make his mark on the international market. In 1988, he opened his first store outside Spanish borders in Porto, in Portugal. Soon after, he crossed the Atlantic and set foot in New York. And he has been unstoppable since then. The UK, Japan, Kuwait. Right now, you can find an Inditex store in almost every large city and capital city in the world.
Inditex, brand owner of Zara and Bershka, plans to open stores in Vietnam, New Zealand, Paraguay, Aruba, and Nicaragua this year. The voice of Vietnam.
Today, Inditex has more than 7,300 stores across the globe. Its main markets, where Inditex has more shops outside Spain than in, are China and Russia. As you can imagine, all of this international expansion, well, it's certainly had a reward. Ortega, that child who saw no other choice but to work to survive and who founded Inditex when he was almost 40, is today one of the wealthiest people on Earth. According to Forbes, Ortega's fortune is more than $55 billion. And, well, here is the billion-dollar question. Well, how did he do it? Well, let's take a look at that.
The keys to success.
To those who say that innovation is limited to the realms of the high-tech industry, well, you probably don't know about Inditex. And pay attention here, because we're going to look at how this company has turned the entire textile industry upside down by competing in a very different way to rival companies. The whole textile industry thing, it doesn't exactly sound incredibly groundbreaking, does it? But, well, this company, they've achieved immense growth. Growth which can mainly be attributed to innovation by daring to be different. Now, let's analyze in depth some of the keys to its business success. First, well, we need to pay attention to the company's brain. Yes, Inditex does have some sort of brain, and this is the operation room that the company established in Oysho, a small town in Galicia. Now, you could be forgiven for mistaking this as some sort of NASA control room, but at least for now, no rockets or satellites are managed from here. In this room, they control and analyze everything that takes place across all of the company's stores in real time. You see, even though a large part of the clothing production takes place in countries like Morocco, Turkey, Brazil, or Bangladesh, everything, or almost everything, goes through Spain before it is sent to stores. For instance, let's think about a Zara store in Shanghai. It would be logical for us to think that since the clothes are made in Bangladesh, that they should be sent directly to China from there, right? Well, that's not what happens at all. They're actually taken to Spain and then they are sent back to Asia. This might seem counterintuitive, but it does have an explanation. Not all shops sell the same quantity of each type of clothing. The purpose of this operation room is to control how much is sold and what kind of pieces are sent to each of the group's shops: the model, the color, the size, etc. So, considering this data, the stores receive pieces of clothing as appropriate for their individual needs. It is only logical, for example, that the Zara on Fifth Avenue does not sell the same items that the Zaras of Miami Beach or Ibiza do. The second key to success is logistics, which is closely related to the first one. Look, Inditex supplies its stores 2 or even 3 times a week, and they can deliver to any of their stores in just 48 hours. You can imagine what an effort this requires, but with this timing, the company gets several things in return. They reduce stock in storage and reduce the storage space required in the shops. Less stock means less frozen money, and less storage space means more space for sales. You know what all of this means? Well, of course that means more money. Furthermore, it also helps to have an updated sales line. And this, by the way, is the third key to Inditex's success: no more lasting collections. In this company, the clothes are often renewed, on average, every fortnight. So if a certain type of t-shirt is not selling, it's out. Just like that, it vanishes from the shelves, never to be seen again. However, if a piece of clothing is selling well, the customer knows he won't find many people wearing the same product because its production is limited to a short period of time. So when something is popular and it sells well, the company doesn't provide more of these items. What the designers do is they sort of recycle the model. The essence is kept, but some modifications are made. So they follow the trend, but they don't repeat it. It all explains why, every time we walk into one of these shops, most of what we see is different to the products we saw the last time. So to sum up, with the operation room, daily analysis, logistics, new designs, well, this company, it's starting to not sound that traditional, isn't it? But I'm sure you probably want to know more about those huge figures, so well, let's jump into that now.
The large figures.
If there were 3 words to define this enormous player of the fashion industry, these would be, well, growth, and yeah, the third word would also be growth. Now, we've discussed the main keys that have helped to build this empire, so now let's see what's going on within the company. And to do this, we need to take a look at the period between 2006 and 2016.
In only 10 years, Inditex has been able to multiply their sales by 3, they've doubled the number of stores, and they've expanded to 50 new countries.
Not so bad for just 10 years, right? Well, in previous videos, like the one we did on Amazon, we said we like to highlight the real money a company generates. That is, the difference between the money that comes in and the money that goes out, the cash flow. Well, if we do it again for Inditex, we can see that cash flow has multiplied by 3 in the last 10 years. If we look at the numbers, we see how this real profit has gone from 1.4 billion euros to 4 billion euros every year. In other words, Mr. Ortega's system, it's certainly works. And this does not just work great for shareholders, because Inditex has been an absolute employment machine. This company now has more than 160,000 workers around the world. But that's not the end of it, not even close, because if we bear in mind all the suppliers that Inditex works with, that number could be in excess of 1 million workers. 1 million people that, in one way or another, have a job because of a company that was born in the 1970s in a small city in the north of Spain. A company that was founded by a humble man, a worker with ambition. It's all very impressive. At That is why Ortega has become an idol for many young Spanish school students. They aspire to be like him when they grow up.
Spanish high school students want to be like Amancio Ortega in the future.
Anyway, now it's your turn. Do you often find yourself shopping in Inditex stores even though maybe you'd never heard of it before? And what's your opinion on Ortega? Well, please let us know in the comments below. Also, do not forget to subscribe to our channel for brand new videos every Monday and every Thursday. And don't forget to check out our friends at the Reconsider Media podcast. They provided the vocals in this episode that were not mine. And as always, thank you for watching.